Hey you guys, welcome to my channel. It's Hannah, and today I'm going to give you guys some key lessons I've learned in my 20s. I'm now 28, going on 29 in a few months, and I'm going to give you guys some real advice that I've noticed and learned, as well as just key things I think are important to focus on in your 20s. So this video is for people either entering their 20s, in their 20s, and honestly, it's great for people in their 30s if they're getting a later start and figuring out things. So let's get into this advice, and I hope you guys love it. So the first piece of advice I'm going to give you is learn financial discipline. Yes, I'm not going to lie. When I was in my early 20s, in my mid 20s, everyone used to say, save, 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 save. And I used to hate that advice. I'm not even going to lie to you because I'm like, I'm not even making that much. What am I supposed to save? How am I supposed to enjoy life? Y'all, a budget. I swear to you, when I finally in my late 20s, yeah, about mid 20s, when I started like taking money more seriously, I realized a budget does not restrict you. It enables you to do more. Okay. So listen to me. Yes, you hear the word budget and it freaks you out, right? It freaks you out because you don't want to be honest with your finances. What people don't recognize, and I feel like especially in your early 20s, we hear budget and we think it means we have to save and not have fun. That is not what a budget means. What a budget means is, let me figure out all the goals. Let's say I want to travel once every year internationally, or twice every year, or I want a new car. Figure out all my goals, everything I'm making, what I'm putting in, and determine how can I make this work. And pro tip, ChatGPT can do all of that for you. You can literally say, this is what I have in savings, this is what I have in debt, these are the amount of times I pay this, that, and that, and it will calculate a budget that allows you to spend money, save money, and still accomplish the things that you want. And that gives me, or brings me to, the next big thing that I learned about finances. Just because you have it does not mean you need to spend it. That is one of the hardest things to overcome, especially when you're in your early 20s, because I feel like you're in this weird spot where it's, I'm finally an adult, right? So I have money to play with. Like, I have adult money, yay! But financial discipline is understanding is, just because I have money doesn't mean I have to spend it. I don't have to spend it the second it comes in my hands. That's why you end up seeing people, or you either end up experiencing being in a place where you're living check to check. You end up living check to check when you're always spending what's in your hand. You're always expecting the next check. And I feel like that's okay when you're first starting out, if you don't have much to put in savings, but that little bit does build up. Even if it's $50 every check, $100 every check. The thing about a budget is, it's based off your finances. Don't let people tell you online you have to put 500 every 2 weeks. You have to put 700. You have to do this, that, and that. They're basing that off of their own finances. Everyone has different things. People have children, all these other things. And that's why in your 20s, it's so important to figure out your money and learn how to save. Because the truth of the matter is, when emergencies happen, emergencies can be surgeries, popping tires. And in my early 20s, man, I went through cars. But car maintenance, that's another big thing. When you're younger, you don't see car maintenance, all these things, as being important until something detrimental happens, like, oh, the whole engine's blown. When you don't have money put aside, that's when you get in panic mode. And I always say this, the mark of real adulthood is when everything bad is happening and you're the only one who has to figure it out. So even if it means picking up an extra job, and I had to do this at first when I first graduated from law school and I had to take the bar again, I literally was working all day and door dashing on the weekends just to have extra money to put away. You have to become financially disciplined, because this, I will say, while you're in your early 20s, you're in the perfect period of time typically where you have less to worry about. So you have less bills typically. You have more free time. If you're in college, you can work on during the summer or some weekends, depending on your situation. And the truth of the matter is, when you get into your later 20s and when you're in your 30s, you have more financial obligations, whether it's kids, um, debt if you pursue higher education, if you get pets, if you end up having to move. I moved at one point every single year for 4 years straight, and that was expensive, let me tell you. So the biggest thing you want to do is become financially disciplined in your 20s. It will benefit you a lot, especially if you're someone who's seeking to have a family and get married in your 30s. You want to at least have learned to really manage your money. Know that you have the discipline to save, you have the discipline to build wealth, because these are also things that enable you to be able to get certain apartments, to get condos, to get properties. And I get in your early 20s, you're not thinking about that, but you don't want to get to your late 20s and say, I've saved nothing. Now I want a condo. I have a kid. Let's say I don't, but let's say now I have a kid. I need a bigger space and I don't have the money. That's the worst position to be in. So even if you can put a little bit aside, teach yourself how to save money and how to not spend frivolously. And I feel like when you have bigger saving goals, like, oh, I want this bag, you're going to find it much easier to save and stay on a budget because you're going to see, oh, my funds are growing. Now, if I'm invited on a trip, I don't have to save for it. I can pull it out of my savings. I can pull it out of this fund. When you don't save anything, it's always going to be you working towards something. And I feel like that creates more stress than knowing that you already have it. Okay, lesson number 2, develop healthy habits now. I'm telling you, you want to develop healthy habits. And I think I see a lot of videos in their 20s where people are like, oh, you want to get used to doing your hair. You want to keep your upkeep. It is way more than upkeep, looking cute, and having your hair done. Trust and believe that internal, you need to start working on that. And I'm talking about keeping your body healthy, taking vitamins, getting into a workout routine. Ooh, this is one of the biggest ones. Keep in mind, I'm only 28. I have friends who are like, Hannah, I cannot get into working out. I hate working out. I hate moving my body. And when I hear that and we're only 28, I'm like, how did you get here? And the truth is, they never found a form of workout they like. I don't feel like everyone needs to be in the gym lifting heavy, bench pressing, squatting, whatever. That's not everybody's goal. But you need to find a healthy form of working out and exercise that works for you. Let's say you're a walker. My mom and my sister, they can walk all day. They rather walk than do traditional running or something like that. They just don't enjoy it. That's fine, but they walk enough to have a healthy lifestyle and keep their body in really great shape. And of course, they do light weights, but you have to figure out what works for you. There's some people get into cycling. There are people who get into what's it called, Pilates, yoga, what have you. But you need to develop healthy habits, because one thing I will say is your body is going to change a lot. I mean, it's going to change a lot. When I think of what my body looked like when I was 21, 22, 23, I worked out, but not for real. Like, it was just like, no, actually, I was pretty into the gym. I'll take that, but it wasn't like serious. I didn't really know. I just do random things. It wasn't until law school, which was, oh, I guess about 21, 22. Yeah, around that phase where I started taking working out more seriously and trying to figure out what I like. But the truth of the matter is your metabolism slows down. Once I started getting to 25 and 26, I noticed that it took more effort for me to keep fat off my body. And oh, now the things that I'm eating, I really do have to be somewhat um thoughtful about what I'm putting in my body. And the reason you have to be more thoughtful is because your body is changing. You get in your grown woman body, as people like to say. And my family, we get thicker. We hold our weight in our lower body. So I had to find a form of cardio that kept weight off of me, especially because I work from home. But to me, it's kind of scary being in our late 20s and hearing people say, I just don't know how to work out. I just can't get myself to walk. It's just so hard. I just want to lay in my bed. We are still in our 20s. That's something you want to hear when you're in your 50s and 60s and your body is breaking down. I'm not saying your body's breaking down in your 40s and 50s. That was probably a terrible way to say that. But point being, you need to find a form of exercise that works, because seeing how difficult it is for some people to even get into a groove now, I'm like, if you had developed a habit or found something you like a while ago, it wouldn't be so difficult now. Same with eating healthy. That is a big thing. Start learning what a healthy plate looks like. A lot of people grow up thinking you can have meat and a carb and that's it. Learn to like vegetables. Find vegetables you like. You cannot be in your 20s saying, I don't eat vegetables. That's just immature at this point. It's so immature. Like, figure it out. You're not going to say, I don't eat veggies. Grow up, okay? This next thing is kind of crazy that I noticed. I don't think people talk about it enough, but I noticed it. And I've discussed it with some of my friends. Dental health, just some people, it just goes down the drain. And let me say something. I'm not talking about going to a dentist. I understand that everybody's financial situation is really different. Financial, what's it called? Dental insurance is different too. I've worked for places that have terrible policies where it still costs a lot. So I'm not talking about financially being able to go to a dentist. I'm talking about oral upkeep. I think around 26 is when I started to notice, I know people whose teeth are literally browning and rotting in their mouth. Like I was looking at people's mouth, I'd go out and I'd be like, oh my gosh. And I started noticing everybody's mouth. And I'm not talking about teeth. You don't have to have straight teeth. I don't think that matters. But your oral health. It's like why are your teeth rotting? You need to be brushing your teeth at least twice a day. You need to be flossing. You need to be using mouthwash. These are things that protect you from having oral issues moving forward. And when you actually are an adult, you have to pay for your dental, for your dental, you realize depending on who you're with, and thank God my firm is really good, but you're like, this is not cheap. Take care of your mouth. Plus, you're in your 20s. I feel like for your teeth to be rotting in your 20s is insane. Whether you're married or not, but especially if you're single, I'm like, that's really unacceptable. It's unacceptable altogether. I don't know why people just neglect their teeth. I think people get into this party lifestyle or fast that maybe they just don't take care of their mouths anymore. But that is one of the most disgusting things I've noticed. And unfortunately, it's been with the majority of women, not the majority of women I know, but I noticed it so much in women where I'm like, why are your teeth in the back of my head? Like, why do they look like that? What are you going through? Like, what are you doing? I drink a lot of coffee. Okay. So I use like whitening strips and stuff like that. And I will say there was a period where I couldn't go to the dentist for like, I'm not gonna lie, it's probably over a year, but I took care of my teeth and I like, I was very hyper vigilant, but it's crazy. I never, it's just so crazy to me, y'all. And I lied to you not around 26 seeing these mouths. So please do not neglect your dental health. Take care of your mouth. It matters. And I just feel like people don't think about it or talk about it until you see it. And I'm like, whoa. That is not okay. So take care of your body and please take care of your teeth. Okay, so number 2 was develop healthy habits. Number three is get clear on your goals. One of the saddest things for me to see and hear at 28 is people saying, oh, I wish I would have done this sooner. It's too late for me now. Number 1, if you're in your late 20s, even if you're in your 30s, it is not too late. It is never too late to chase your goals. Go look up people like Oprah. Go look up people and see when they became big. Think about when they became famous. A lot of the times it's not in their 20s. It's not in their 20s. But I feel like when people get in their late 20s, they start to feel a bit defeated because they feel like, I don't know. I think sometimes there's this weird tie to the 20s as if life ends after after your 20s, which is so weird to me that I think those people have an issue with aging, and that's a whole different conversation. Aging is a blessing from God, okay? Being able to live is a blessing, but aside from that, it's really sad to me. And I always try to pour into those people and say, you're only 28, you're only 31. What do you mean? You probably got like 30, 40 more years left, and you're going to sit here and say life is over. It's not over. But one thing I will say, as you go along your 20s, get clear on your goals. Start thinking about what you like and don't be scared to say, I want to chase this. Don't be scared to fail because let me tell you something. If you do it in your 20s, you know what that means? You have a chance to do it again and again and again until you get it right. Don't let yourself or trick yourself into thinking that there is a time limit on being successful. Like, I'm so serious. And I get really riled up about that because I'm very blessed. I will say I did all my schooling straight, was able to go to law school immediately, got my legal license by 25, my, my law degree. So I will say my situation's different because I had family who could help me financially. I've never had to worry about too much. I could just focus on school. However, after that, I realized I had more dreams. Like I realized that. And I didn't say, oh, well, I spent these years being a lawyer. That's what it has to be. No. For example, a perfect example, I launched my fitness brand last year and it went well. I'm not gonna lie. I made a great bit of money, but I learned a lot and I wasn't able to like continue it the way I wanted to. But I'm relaunching it this year. And one thing I said is after doing the first launch, I said, I can't wait to do this again because I learned so much. And next year, I said, I'm going to take this many months. I'm going to take 6 months, 8 months. I don't care what anybody thinks about where's Hannah's business, where this. I said, I've learned so much and now I can plan it correctly so I can be successful. You have to have the courage to chase your goals in your 20s, whether you're in 30s. It doesn't matter when. So get clear as you go and say, I do like this. You know what? I do like music. I do like streaming. I do like acting. And then get clear on that and say, I'm going for it. You cannot allow age or certain stages to determine what you're going to do. You just need to have a clear vision and decide to do it, and don't be scared to fail. Okay, number 4 is understanding that your childhood and college friends may not be your core group of friends throughout your 20s, and your friend groups may change a lot. And that's okay. That's not a reflection of you. And one of the biggest things I feel like you must learn in your 20s is that everything does not have to end in some sort of dramatic ending. Oh my goodness. I feel like everyone thinks that ending a friendship means that it has to be some hard conversation, some deep, reason, or it has to be one person was bad and one person was this. That is not always the reason friendships end. And sometimes we also have to understand that friendships don't always have to end. Sometimes that status change. Maybe y'all were good friends. Now y'all are more of acquaintances. That doesn't mean you don't dislike them. It doesn't mean you think any less of them. It just means that you guys have moved in different directions and maybe have less to communicate about, but still respect and care about each other. And that is just part of life. I think sometimes people get so wrapped up in, oh, why are things changing? Why are things changing? Baby, we are all changing, and that's just a fact. And you'll even look around sometimes and be like, dang, we grew up together, but I just don't feel like we're really that close anymore. That's okay. You can demote the friendship to acquaintances or just casual friends or friends you just go out with on the weekends. That is perfectly fine. Your friendship levels will change throughout the course of your 20s as you decide certain things are more of a value for you and some aren't. And that doesn't mean you're less or better than anyone else. That's one of the biggest pet peeves I have, where it's like, oh, that friend wasn't good enough to hang out with me. Was she not good enough to hang out with you? Or did she change her priorities? But that's what makes friendships in your 20s a lot easier to navigate, when you understand that not everything is an end all be all dramatic ending. A lot of the times you grow apart. And the best part about your 20s is you'll see there are people you may grow apart from for like a year, and then y'all get back connected and everything is fine. Because one of the truest things you have to understand is we're all going through different seasons, which actually leads us into my last point, which is I wish somebody would have said this to me. In your 20s, I don't care what everybody says about mastering communication. In your 20s, it is okay to have imperfect communication. It is 100% okay. You're never going to have a perfect partner, and you will not be the perfect communicator or partner as well. But it's about what communication are you okay with and what are you not. Same with friendships. People hate the term low maintenance friendship, but I'm not the kind of person, personally, I don't want to talk every single day because I'm busy. Every week, sure. Every other week, sure. I'm not hopping on the phone every second like when we were in high school or in college when we didn't have jobs and we didn't have responsibilities. That's personally my thing. If I have a friend who can't work with that, I don't see her as any less. I just understand our friendship might change because our communication needs are different. And that's okay. And one thing I also want to emphasize, which I think is quite interesting, sometimes you'll find you don't communicate well with someone in this season. And then it is 2 to 3 months later, you're in different seasons and y'all communicate so much better because y'all went through things. Y'all are able to open up more. Communication is ever evolving. Do not believe that you have to be this grown, super amazing communicator in your 20s. As long as you are taking steps to becoming a better communicator, you're not hurting people, you're becoming self-aware throughout your 20s, then you are just fine. Because as I said, you're going to have to learn communication over and over with the different type of people you meet, as well as the different person that you become along your journey too. So if you're an imperfect communicator, that is 100% okay. You don't have to master it in your 20s. All right, you guys, that is the end of today's video. I hope you guys liked it. I hope some of you guys got some great tips and you're feeling a little more hopeful or a little more lifted about your 20s or even your 30s. I feel like it's just I've learned so much and I really want to share it. I have two sisters, I have my mom, obviously, and I have a lot of friends, and we're always talking about some major things that we learned. And I just feel like these are some things that aren't discussed as often. And I want to be the big sissy and, make sure that you guys got that information. But I hope you guys love this video. If you like this, definitely let me know because I'm a yapper. I just haven't yapped too much on this on my channel yet. But if you liked it, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. And if you have any more ideas or something you want to hear me talk about, I'm more than happy to do so. I love you guys. Bye.